you had a very integral role in creating the iPhone.
Correct. I was one of the team, one of the leaders of the team to create the device.
At the time, were you thinking about screen time and addiction? Were any of those conversations happening behind closed doors at Apple?
Absolutely not. We were just taking something that people used on a regular basis, their laptops, their phones, what have you, and putting them together. We never thought that this was going to be what it is today. So we were just giving people the tools together in a very great package that allowed it to become interesting.
You, as someone who had firsthand experience creating the iPhone, a device that I myself and many other people I know are addicted to, what do you mean when you say this is a moment of unintended consequences?
Well, if we look back 11 years ago was the introduction of the iPhone. And now we have a device and devices in our pockets at all times, right? That are usually on our bedstands too. So when you put all of these things together, this is the unintended consequences that allow these products to become so important in our lives that it's hard for us to put them down.
This is definitely a Silicon Valley-sized problem. How do you fix it?
To know you're addicted, you have to have some kind of way to measure what you do. We have scales for our physical life. We can weigh ourselves. We have no scales for our digital life. The companies like Apple, Google, Facebook, all these, they collect all this usage information. They know what we're doing, but we don't have that information back. So that we can then basically have a scale for our digital life to tell us what we've done, right? So then from there, then we need controls to allow us, just like we do in the physical world, to set goals or less gaming or more gaming, but we need those tools and controls at the operating system level and hold the app developers accountable to allow us to have control over those apps.
That's an interesting point. I mean, this idea that there'd be even an alert for digital consumption or some of these ethical product decisions that are actually baked in to features and apps. That's what you're talking about.
Exactly. And some people won't want any of them, and some people will.
How do you negotiate the business decision and also the ethical obligation?
Give the tools to the people who want them, who think they need them, and to try them. And yes, maybe they're going to spend less time, but maybe these people are going to be more healthy and live longer. So they're going to actually buy more devices for another 10 years. But until we have these tools and controls, there are things that we can do as individuals. Would you put a bottle of alcohol next to your kid's bed?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, Tony.
If you leave them with devices all night long in their bedroom, isn't that almost the same?
But the difference is we didn't realize that our smartphone was the equivalent of a bottle of alcohol. We didn't realize it was the equivalent of cigarettes until we all just started talking about this in the last year. And I think that's the realization that we're now having. And this feels like uncharted territory.
Correct. But there are simple things we can do. Don't allow screens at the table when you're eating. Teaching kids about addiction.
Is it too late to put the genie back in the bottle?
No, it's never too late. We have to be optimistic. We need to learn about these unintended consequences and figure out ways to mitigate them and to help us learn a new way of, integrating these into our lives.
I know Steve Jobs was your mentor. What do you think he'd think about this moment?
I think, when he initially started Apple, he said he wanted to make the computer for the rest of us. That dream has come true. So he has to be delighted wherever he is that dream absolutely came true. He would be saying many of the same things I would be saying. And Apple is still doing that, wants to do the right thing for their customers. So I'm sure they're going to do the right thing.